Hello, thank you for tuning in to Mrs. Smalls Tries It All, the channel where I, Mrs. Smalls, tries a little bit of everything and shares with you how it's done. On today's video, I want to get into a little bit of cooking, and what I am making today is my recipe on salsa, my salsa recipe. This is a recipe that my family truly loves. My husband really loves it. My son has created his own rendition of my recipe of his salsa based on what I've used. So it's a family recipe that we love. It does have an authentic taste. So it's a more Mexican flavored recipe, more Mexican style recipe. So I hope you enjoy. So let's take a look at some of the ingredients. Let's start with that. Notice I'm pretty much using all fresh ingredients. And as far as the season is concerned, very minimal. So it wouldn't cost that much to make. And like I said, the ingredients are pretty much simple to find. So what I did, I got 5 medium-sized tomatoes on the vine. Of course, I rinsed them off very well, plucked the stems off. I have 8 serrano chili peppers. We like it spicy, so 8's probably not enough, but we'll live with it. For you, if you don't like it spicy, of course, use less peppers. We also have half a bunch of cilantro here. All right, and half a medium onion. I have 1 nice sized lime, pink Himalayan sea salt, and some minced garlic. Okay, so one thing I would like to share in terms of the tomatoes, I would the vine. I would not recommend getting plum tomatoes. And the reason why is because a plum tomato has a sweeter taste, also known as aroma. It has a sweeter taste, and with that sweeter taste is something that, you know, if you were making spaghetti sauce, they would be perfect. But for this, not so much. It kind of changes the flavor of the salsa. One other thing I also would like to mention is if you're not a super fan of cilantro, we like cilantro here. So we really cilantro it up. But if you're not a fan of cilantro like that, you just like a hint of the flavor, I would go with 1/4 of a bunch of cilantro as opposed to half a bunch of cilantro. So you know how cilantro comes in the bunches that are wrapped. I would use like 1/4 of that bunch if you weren't a fan. Okay. So now what I do, I cut the tops off of my peppers, of course, pull the stems off of my tomatoes, make sure it's rinsed very well. Rinse my cilantro. That's another thing I wanted to share too. Make sure you rinse your cilantro very well. A lot of times what I'll do, I'll put it in a colander or a strainer and just let the water pour on that while I agitate it while the water's running, because of the fact that cilantro could sometimes get a little sandy. And if you're not careful, that sandy dirt mix will definitely be in your salsa. And I mean, who wants that? All right. So make sure you do that. All right. So, after you got all your ingredients together, I use a baking sheet or a cookie sheet. I lined it with aluminum foil. I like doing that. It just makes cleanup easier. And I'm going to put this in the broiler for about 5 or so minutes. Okay. And then I'll be back. So it's been about 7 minutes, and what I did was check on the tomatoes and the serrano chili peppers, and I noticed that the serranos were ready. And you see this look here, how the skin is like a black, it's black on the top, almost look kind of burnt. It's not actually burnt, where it looks like it's actually lifted and you can peel the skin off. This is how I know my peppers are ready. Okay, so I'm going to let them cool. My tomatoes, however, they're not really ready. They're kind of soft, but not too soft. Usually it does take about 7 minutes for both of them, but those tomatoes are a little sturdy. And because of their like texture, how I guess how solid they were when I first put them in the oven, they were firm, I meant to say. Because of how firm they were, the 7 minutes probably didn't cut it. So it's going to need a few more minutes, okay? All right, so after about another 7 minutes, My tomatoes are the consistency that I want them. They've softened up. They have a little bit of extra brownness on their skin, just like with the peppers where it's almost like you can peel it off. I'm going to let this cool for a little bit. Cool for a little bit, and then I'm going to blend it. All right, so now I have my pink sea salt. I have my garlic. I love garlic, so I have lots of garlic in here. And as you can see, the cilantro, the onions, all that stuff. I'm getting ready to add my lime, and pretty much to get my lime nice and juicy, I pretty much roll my lime and then I squeeze it blend, and I blend to the texture that I like. Some people like a nice saucy, some people like it thick. When you're blending, you can pretty much tell what you like, okay? Also with the salt, go light first, and then when you blend, taste it, and then add, to your seasoning. Don't go crazy with the salt first off, okay? All right, so let's get our blending going. All right, so I have finished blending the salsa, and here is the consistency I like. I did have to add a little bit more water to give it a more, like the consistency that I liked it. I didn't want it, it was almost like a spaghetti sauce. I wanted to add a little bit more water to make it a little bit thinner. So here is the salsa. Yes, it's green. Mine winds up being a green or a salsa verde because I added a lot of jalapenos and a lot of cilantro. Now, for those of you who, like I say, you don't like that much cilantro, you don't like that much heat, go less. All right, maybe a quarter pound of cilantro and possibly half or a quarter of the peppers that I used. All right, I hope you enjoy it, and thank you. Don't forget to click like and share, and I'll see you next time.